It's election day, gonna talk some sports, gonna do some stuff, gonna drink some beer, gonna sit right down. It's 85 yards through the heart of the South.
Did you write that down?
No, I did.
I feel like you did.
No, I didn't. I swear to God, that was off the dome.
Oh, man. I like that one. I did like that one. I mean, we can only use it on an election episode, but I did like that one.
Now that you've had a couple of weeks to see how these intros are going, thoughts on how they were at first?
I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Like that's what like fucks me up. Is like I know I want to do something with them, right? Like I know I want to turn it into like put music behind it, and do that, but I don't know what that sounds like. Like, cause I don't know where to take it. It's just like, what do I put into it? Right? Like, should it be like a jazz? Should it have like some horns and stuff in it? Or should it be kind of like, a little bit more R&B or like, hip hop or something? Like, do we go that route? Like, I don't know, man. You can take it a lot of ways.
You can, and that's the beauty of it. So, the phone is just lighting up tonight.
Isn't that when it happens, right?
Yes.
When you got shit to do.
It always
Everybody
is.
wants to hit you up, but when you're free, nobody wants to talk to you.
Nobody wants to do anything. I can't get plans or anything like that, and then 8 people ask me for shit at the same time, so it's wonderful. Anyways, 85 yards through the heart of the South with your boy, Chayton and I, co-host Ryan McClincy. Brother, technical issues, world about to set on fire after this election result tonight. Either way, we're still here doing a show. Doesn't matter. Nothing going to hold us back.
Maybe that's what is fucking up all these technical issues, man. Everybody's just refresh. How many votes are in? What's the percentages? Who's going to win? Who's going to win? In reality, we're not going to know for a couple days anyway, so y'all just need to chill, sit back, relax, pour yourself some whiskey, have a nice little drink.
So, speaking of whiskey, what are you drinking?
I've got, it's bourbon. It's Bourbon 30. It's the brand.
Bourbon 30.
First off, hardest fucking bottle to open because so it's got like the wax dipped,
Yeah.
But it's not like how Makers does it, where it's got kind of that tab and you can like pull it, and it peels it off. This one, like you have to take a knife to it, and it's
cut through
thick.
like a candle. Yeah,
yeah, it's fucking thick.
It's thick. Tag that. If I have a drop, I want to just go thick. Anyways,
so it was like the most. I fucking sat there with it for a solid 10 minutes trying to just open this bottle, but I finally got it, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's a decent bourbon. I would put it up there with like a Makers or something, I don't know. I like it. It's good.
Go get you a bottle. Like it. I've got some. I'm sipping on some Sierra Nevada, doing my thing. Pouring it back. It's. I haven't had their pale ale in a while. They've actually got a torpedo, like extra pale ale that I didn't get, but I'll be trying next time for sure. You know me, man. IPAs all day. I will say that I'm starting to. I had some Whistlepig a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
And it's still burning even 2 weeks later, going down.
I like Whistlepig.
Dude, perfect name. Bottle was amazing. Like I could sip on it. And then I saw the price of what the bottle is. Then I was like, never mind.
There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
But it is good. It is definitely good stuff.
One of our friends who's a bartender there, so we had just we'd like been watching a game, and like they ended up winning, and so we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna we're going to take a shot in celebration. Well, and we were like, oh, yeah, Whistlepig. Like, I knew it was like 20, 30 bucks a shot, whatever. Well, he poured it, and the guy's like really cool. We see him there all the time, and he's a really good guy. Anyways, he pours it, and so we just look at each other, go clink, hit the ground, and just shot it. And he turned around, he was like, oh my God, no. Like, he was like offended. And I was just like, oh, what? He was like, you can't shoot that. And we were just like, oh my God.
You can. It's just, it would not be recommended by anybody.
We've been in there 3 or 4 times since then. And every time we sit down, we're like, these are the guys. These are the guys. Like, that's
shot
what
Whistlepig.
This is the shot Whistlepig. Yeah, but
so the same distiller that makes Bourbon 30 makes it's Jay Mattingly, right? And there's one other bottle at the liquor store that I go to that's Jay Mattingly, and it's like, the their first brand, whatever, their legit stuff. Dude, it's $114 for this bottle, and I was like, is this really worth $114? And like everybody there was just like, eh. Okay. Good to know.
No.
Good to know.
You're like, thank God. Yeah, I almost made that purchase. So, yeah. How goes it, brother? Good week so far?
It's good. Still early. Obviously went and placed my vote this morning. So
I voted. They didn't hand out stickers. Or like maybe I came too late and they didn't have enough, but I was pissed I didn't get a sticker. Because did you really vote if you didn't take a selfie? Stick it on some social media?
100%.
You didn't. It doesn't count. If you post it on social media and they find out, it counts twice.
Yeah, they actually rip it up and shred it right in front of you if you don't have a sticker.
Right in front of your face. I always did crack up whenever I just thought it was like you just voted, you walked out, somebody just looked at you and just shredded your ballot in front of your face. They're
like, oh, no, you got to put yours in this pile.
They're like, oh, yeah, we'll take good care of it. They've just got like a lighter fluid.
Yeah. They're just dousing it.
Yeah, the whole time. So, yeah, same here, man. Just busy, doing my thing, just kind of waiting to get through the week. I like our show today. We've got some good wham. Yeah. Some wham.
We got a condensed wham, which I'm excited about because fucking putting that shit together, it's a lot. There's a lot to sift through, of just stuff and how I want to say it too, I want to say it a specific way. I want to focus on something, but
I always look forward to your wham. So condensed wham, it's like spam wham, swam bam.
We're gonna just breeze right past that comment, and we're gonna get into what actually matters.
Wham. Wham, wham, ball with the wham, the wham, the wham,
wham. I did like that. Ball with the wall, the wham, wiggy, wiggy. Oh, we gotta rewrite that. We have to rewrite that and then record it, and then that'll be the intro. That's what we have to do.
Oh,
it's
man.
Decided. It's decided.
It's happening. It's happening. All right. Take us home with the wham. I love this. Is my favorite part of the week.
Is that just because you don't have to say anything? Or?
Yes. I get to listen and interject.
So, in college football news, perhaps the story of the weekend in college football, Boston College nearly pulls off the upset of number 1 Clemson. As Trevor Lawrence was forced to sit out after testing positive for COVID. And even bigger, after the game, Dabo Swinney came out and said that he will, in fact, be out against Notre Dame this weekend as well. So big loss there. I'm hoping they can pull it out because I do want that rematch.
Very bad.
Yeah. Michigan State did, however, pull off the upset over hated rival Michigan just 1 week after we heard about how amazing the Wolverines looked against Minnesota.
I'm wearing that a little bit hard today, and I have to even give you credit, and I don't want to give you credit, but Ryan lightweight called the upset. Called it.
I know that the credit is there, so I'll take it. Ohio State went into Happy Valley and came out with a 38-25 victory in, was it just me, or did that game seem like it was well in control pretty much throughout, and the score was not indicative of that?
Definitely.
One of those weird games.
Yeah, 38-25 is not at all. It was never in
looks
doubt.
Closer than what it actually was.
Yeah,
And
people that watched the game, that seemed to even be the sentiment from people that, like, I watched it with a bunch of people. Everybody said the same thing. And a lot of Ohio State haters that are not particular fans, they were like, yeah, you guys killed them. Like, yeah, that was not close.
Wasn't close. Georgia's offense looked particularly slow against Kentucky, edging out the Wildcats 14-3, and the Dogs will look to use their strong defense, though, this weekend as they take on Florida in a top 10 matchup that should be a brawl. Shortly after, the Gators and the Missouri Tigers decided to brawl it out, duke it out, engage in fisticuffs, if you will. Right before halftime on the field, and Dan Mullen gets a fine and quote unquote reprimanded, whatever the hell that means. And defensive lineman Zachary Carter, they just slapped him on the hand. And defensive lineman Zachary Carter and linebacker Antoine Powell were ejected, and they're going to miss the first half of this weekend's game against Georgia as well. So big losses there in what should be probably the matchup of the weekend, honestly.
Yeah.
Or one of. There's a couple.
There's a couple big ones. There are some big ones this weekend.
Yep. Cincinnati continues to dominate the AAC, beating reigning champs Memphis handedly and continuing to move slowly up the rankings. Do I hear playoffs? Do I hear it?
I hear playoffs.
Interesting. Playoffs. BYU joins the Bearcats as the most likely group of 5 teams to shake shit up, coming in at number 9 this week, going into their matchup against number 22 Boise State on Saturday. But I'll tell you who's not making the playoffs, and that is the Big 12.
Nope.
Down goes the Okies.
Down goes Freight Okies.
Sure. To the hands of Texas.
They don't
of
all
land.
teams.
Fucking Texas. Goddamn Texas.
In overtime. That was a crazy game.
Yeah. Other key matchups this weekend, though, Michigan at Indiana. And yes, that is what the matchup is. Michigan at Indiana. Indiana is, 13th in the country right now? So,
yes.
Interesting. Wisconsin plays no one. Because their game against Purdue is canceled due to their current COVID outbreak. So their season's pretty much lost as well. And
this
the Pac-12
as
makes their very quiet return to sport.
They're going to play 3 games.
Right.
Play 3 games.
Moving on to the NFL. Patriots are in full-on freefall mode after losing to the Bills. The Steelers remain undefeated. The 49ers continue to lose players to injury, losing Garoppolo this past weekend as well. Tua gets his first W in his career, in his first start ever, but I'm going to give credit to the Fins defense for that one because they studied the fuck out. Bucks sneak out a win Monday night against the Giants. Kudos to you, Nyestrodamus, on that call. Also, thanks in part to the quote-unquote questionable defensive pass interference call that was then reviewed and picked up, although I do think that was the right call.
I didn't think he got him.
It was Bam Bam.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Yeah.
That's not pass interference.
You don't get that call in the playoffs. I don't think you get it when the game's on the line. Like, you could tie it up there either.
100%. And lastly, in the NFL, the trade deadline has officially passed as of 4 p.m. Eastern today. All you need to know, some deals were made, more were not. It involved players that you've probably never heard of. And that probably won't really matter because all they're really trading is picks. That's all they want. They want them picks, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what else?
Here.
You know what else doesn't matter?
What?
Fucking baseball's done.
You just love it. You had to say, yeah.
The Dodgers pulled it out in 6, beating the Rays to be World Series champs, and we don't got to talk baseball for another few months.
You were loaded up to say long time. Oh wait, baseball season lasts 9 months.
Like what? It starts in fucking February. I feel like. And other news. Obviously, today is election day. Results will continue to pour in from that election all evening long. So, hope everyone got out to vote. But look, no matter how it turns out, no matter how you voted, we made it. We fucking made it.
We made it. What was that South Park episode? Whenever he was like, now I'm a little bit country and I'm a little bit rock and roll. I always think of that episode on election night.
That was good. That was wasn't that Obama's first term?
Yes. And they were like, rock flag.
Because it was fucking John McCain.
Yes. Bro, that's South Park always has the best shit.
They crush it, dude.
Yes, absolutely. Look, doesn't matter what it is. As long as you got out and vote, that's my whole thing is that you can't bitch unless you actually voted. If you voted, you can bitch. I'll listen to your opinion on anything. But if you don't get out and actually
really care what you did. Like if I don't care who you voted for. Like I really don't. It's totally up to you. It's your opinion. You are entitled to it as a citizen of the United States of America.
That's what makes this country the best country in the history of ever. When you really think about it, it is, and it will continue to be because of that. So I tip the hat. If I go back just real quick, I got to touch on Wham. How different 2 weeks is for the Patriots. We were talking about Cam Newton for comeback player of the year just 2 weeks ago. He has a stinker against San Francisco and like the fumble going into the goal line. Like, that was just rip your heart out and your soul out.
I mean, look at how good he played at Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, he played lights out in that game, and now all of a sudden, it's like he can't even figure out what to do.
Nope.
And there's not, like, large changes around him. I mean, yeah, you lose N'Keal Harry, like, that's I guess a big loss, it's not, but
right.
It's a loss, I guess. So it is what it is. But I think even more too, like you see Bill Belichick starting to make excuses.
Yeah. He said he came out and said more than I've ever heard him say in an interview. Whenever he went on that radio show,
that many words.
I didn't, other than just. Yeah,
we got to play football.
And yeah, in the history of ever, they're just realizing more and more. Never should have let TB12 walk out that door.
Meanwhile, how the tables have turned on TB12 and how good the Bucks look. Now, granted, they played poorly against the Giants, but I mean, there are people in the sports universe that think that they're the best team in the NFL right now.
And I would be so inclined to think as well. Look, let down spots and like a little bit of back of the napkin stuff here. If those of us that like literally, you want to place bets and be a knowledgeable sports bettor, you had to know that was coming with Tampa Bay. You can't turn the commitment and you can't turn the what's the word I'm looking for? You can't turn the volume and the effort. You can't turn the effort to 110% week in and week out. So they have a max effort motivated game against the Green Bay Packers. They whip their ass. Then they go to Oakland in a primetime 4:30 spot game on the road, beat them, and then you got to fly across the country to play a Monday night game against a bad Giants team. When you have the Saints coming to town next week, it's a sandwich spot game.
I mean, that's a little bit. Yeah, that's a little overlooked too. Yeah,
it's an overlooked. I
didn't really think about the Saints this week because I mean that's essentially the division, right?
Exactly. So
you beat the Saints this weekend. You're pretty confident that you'll be able to pull out the division. For sure. It's a huge game. And that's why I thought, that's why I kind of like the Giants. I was like, at 13's way too much to be getting in a game whenever they're coming off 2 emotional wins. They're going to be like, all right, let's just get this W. Let's get out of here. And then let's go home to Tampa Bay. So kudos to Tampa Bay. So that was the big story there. And then really in college football, what I looked at is it's going to be really, really interesting. The most important weekend in college football is upon us with Florida and Georgia
and then Clemson and Notre Dame. We're going to get into it much more in depth next week, but I think to this point in the season, the most important weekend. Your thoughts?
I mean, to this point, yeah, I would see that. I don't know that Florida, Georgia is as important because I don't ultimately think it's going to have that big of an impact because whoever wins that game will likely win the East and lose to Alabama. So you have two lost teams. So neither of those teams are going to be in contention for the playoff, in my opinion, unless they beat Alabama in the championship, right? So that it's a good game. It's a good matchup. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think the implications on the college football playoff are there. Like, are there as much as they are with Clemson and Notre Dame. I think even if Notre Dame beats Clemson, Clemson could still very likely get in because they lost a game without Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This would be the game to fucking lose.
For sure. And I guess the other thing is that, and we've got something special for you guys next week, but big Friday night sneaky game, number 9 BYU at number 21 Boise State. If BYU is going to lose, it's going to be this game. So that's another, we get kicked off.
I don't think they were, man. I like them in this game.
You like BYU?
They have been putting up fucking points.
I'd be interested for sure in that game. And so, I like that one as well. Also, Michigan at Indiana. This is a must win for Michigan. Like, that's, just looking at the weekend, like they got to win this game. And
every game here on out, every game is a must win for Michigan.
They really are. I know you love.
Indiana can be a top 10 matchup for Ohio State if they win against Michigan and they win the following week. That could put up an Ohio State-Indiana top 10 matchup of undefeateds, which would be fucking wild.
There's no way Indiana is the 13th best team in the country, though. I don't know. There's no way. They beat a Penn State.
It's weird, dude. It's just weird as fuck. I mean, like, it's the same thing as, like, okay, should Marshall be ranked? No. Should Coastal Carolina be ranked? Probably not.
Coastal Carolina's actually, I've watched them they're pretty good. And
should they be ranked?
No, and Marshall wouldn't be ranked in a normal year either. And I love it. Hometown, gotta rep out. But, it's the truth. Lot of action.
It was just like they were just the fucking AP and coaches polls, they were just looking for bodies.
Yeah,
to plug in. Like, they were like, shit, well, Big Ten hasn't started yet. Well, shit, well, the Pac-12 hasn't started yet. Well, where the fuck are we going to pull these teams from? They're just like, yeah,
come here, come here to dad.
And they just throw them in and rank them because they need somebody to fill that fucking spot.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So big time weekend coming up in sports. I love it. That was a nice wham sandwich.
I just in my head, it's a Dave Chappelle skit, and I can't remember what the context is, but he's like scrambling around, and he's just like, "Oh, you!" He just like points at him. Oh no! I remember what it is. This is perfect. It's perfect. It's he's talking about Bill Clinton and like in the whole Monica Lewinsky stuff. So it's perfect for the election night. When he's like. He said he pops his head out of his room and he's just like looking for somebody to just suck his dick, right? So he just like pops his head out of his room and the first person he sees and he's like, you. He just.
That's what they were doing whenever they decided to wreck fucking Boise and Marshall and
just like, Coastal Carolina,
right
Marshall, Thunder and Herd.
You've won one game. Here you go.
Right.
Here's a ranking. You get a ranking. So we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get to a very interesting topic for this week. And it's the topic that most people don't necessarily think about all the time. But hey, they got feelings too, right?
Stay tuned. Welcome back to 85 Yards, 85Y, with Che Booty, Chayton I, and Ryan Boobs McClincy.
Mm-hmm.
And today, what we're going to talk about is fucking kickers. The much lauded player on the team, from a fan standpoint specifically, that is the player that receives probably, I would say, Chayton, what do you think? Do they receive the most death threats?
Easily. Quarterbacks probably come in second, but kickers far and away first, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know, head coaches might be up there too.
Yeah.
Head coaches probably get a lot.
We'll get into it. Yes.
Yeah. Kickers, though, have one specific job. And, like, you should have probably a couple on your team that can perform that job, right?
I would think.
At least, within reason, within a decent distance. Now, I'm not saying I could come out here and kick a fucking 30-yard field goal, because guess what? I can't.
Nope.
I can't.
I tried to kick an extra point from the 1 yard line a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't hit one.
Yeah. It's not easy, but if it's my job, that's what I either get paid to do or want to get paid to do. Mm-hmm. I've done it hundreds of thousands of times, and I should be pretty good at it at this point. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't be missing and just pushing field goals one way or another, pulling them, with zero wind because the laces were a different way.
Right. A lot of factors.
There's a lot of factors. Yeah, there are a lot of pieces that have to come into that puzzle. But if you're a kicker, you have one job, and if you fail at your one job, then what the fuck are you doing?
Suck a dick.
Like, so many missed field goals from this past weekend in college and NFL got me really looking at it, and I was like, man, like, I give kickers a lot of credit. Like, I'm not one of those people that just like. I'm not writing death threats. Let's put it that way to anybody,
Maybe.
But at the same time, just your job is to kick a field goal.
Kick the ball, right.
Just fucking do it. Like, just do it. If you have a groin injury, Blake Hobbiel, don't kick a field goal. Because you're probably not going to do it too well. You know? And if your backup sucks, apparently, then we should be picking another kicker.
I would think so too. It was and specifically more so in the NFL, it was a very windy day across the NFL. Weather was shit at a lot of different stadiums this weekend in the NFL specifically. But I definitely tend to agree with you. It's such a specialty game, and it's so usually what's hard for me with kickers is that a missed kick, you shouldn't ever let it come down to the kicker. Like when they say if it's coming down to overtime or something like that, probably shouldn't have been in this situation in the first place. And so if it's coming down to a last second field goal, you had 59 other minutes to do something in the game. So I get that it's a lot of the blame, but a lot of think about Vinatieri's career. Like, he hit some.
It's
clutch.
Also part of the game,
right? It is part of the game, and they're not. But do you see kickers as football players? Really, though, it gets interesting.
No, I see them as soccer players.
Right. I just look
at
them
as soccer. Well, and mostly because when I was in high school, our kicker was our kicker because he played soccer,
right?
And he also kicked field goals for us, and so shout out Mike Morgan. He probably not listen, but shout out. But that's, to me, it's okay, even if okay, let's say you have an injury to your kicker, somebody on that team has probably played soccer, right? Somebody on that team has the ability to kick a field goal, right? And if you're on the sidelines, if you're a kicker and you're waiting 59 minutes in a game to then have that pressure, what are you doing for those 59 minutes? You always see them, I guess, kicking on the sidelines, warming up before those kicks. Mm. But what are you doing for the 58 and a half minutes before that? You think you would do that periodically, right? Throughout.
It's actually a really good point.
A little bit warm, keep things going, because, why do other players ride bikes when they get on the sidelines? So they can keep warm, so they can keep their blood flowing, and they can keep their muscles loose. If you go into that game and this is the first meaningful kick that you've had to hit and you've just been cold, then you're probably not going to hit it. You know what I mean? I just feel there's less I don't know, like it's not the sexiest position, so like people don't really care about it, and I don't think kickers really care about it either.
Yeah, I definitely tend to agree with you. That's actually something I hadn't really thought about because, yeah, you're right. Throughout the game, guys stay loose on stationary bikes. Quarterbacks are over there throwing passes and stuff. But yeah, you really don't see kickers warming up until they're like, oh, I'm about to go in a kick. Like, right. I'm not staying ready the entire game. So that's really interesting. I've got some stats here. So, and not even stats technically. Kicking probability.
Master.
Yeah, I'm the stat master. We're going to do a little bit of guess some stats here with Rizzle. So it's really interesting to look at NFL.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I know. Rizzle. Shout out Josh Myers, our boy from Down Under. Shrimp on
Down
the
Under.
Barbie.
Was that Josh or was it Ramel?
Josh was Rizzle, 100%. Yeah, yes.
I know they both called me that. So
yes, shout out Ramel too. So NFL kickers, when you look at this graph, obviously, what do you think? So back in the 70s, what do you think the probability of hitting a 50-yard field goal from 1970 was? And let me give let's do before we do the 1970. This is how much better they've gotten. We'll do today. So kicking in 2018 and on has been more accurate than it's ever been before in the history. Kickers have gotten a lot better, but just your thought. Okay, so a field goal inside of 25 yards. What's the probability for that?
Today?
Yes, today. These are today's numbers.
Inside of 25 yards?
Yes.
98%.
97%. So you're pretty much dead nuts on. What about dead nuts on? What about 39 yards and in?
I'd say 80.
Pretty online, 86%. So 39 and in, 86%. What about 49 yards and in?
I'll go 72.
See, this number kind of shocked me. You guessed a lot higher than I would have. I would have thought like 65%. It's like 77%. 77% of the time at 49.
I wanted to go in the 60s, but I feel like 40 is a pretty... I mean, you see a lot of 40-yard field goals, right? If you get to the 30 these days...
points.
That's the field goal line, right? It's not at the 20, it's at the 30. So, like, if you get to the 30, you're saying, okay, well, this is where we need to get to make a manageable field goal. So you trust that most kickers at a 45, 47 yard mark are going to be able to make it. So
that's a good stat. I thought it like 2/3. I was like, if you give an NFL kicker 2 out of 3 chances to hit a 49 yarder, like he probably hits it. And then 50 plus.
60.
64%. That's insane. Like I was like, okay, probably 45%. I figured it's a little bit worse than a coin flip for like a 50-some yarder. So like that's how good. Okay. So that was good. Guess the stats. You were pretty much all over those stats. I was thinking I was going to trip you up a little bit more than that. Okay. So back in the 1970s when this started, we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to flip it around. So from the 1970s, what do you think for so we'll do it easy. 29 yards and in to start in 1970.
1970. I'd say 93.
Okay, so that's 91. So Ryan's over here. God, I can't wait to hear your picks this week. Good God. All right, so 39 yards and in. 1970, 39 yards and in.
79.
Way. It plummets.
Really?
Yes. 39 yards and in back then, 64%.
Wow.
64%.
Right.
Okay, so 49.
What did you say the last percentage was?
So 64%, 39 yards and in.
So from 49.
So from 49.
I mean, I'll go 30.
42%. And then 50 plus.
Fucking 15.
17.5% from 50 plus. So
wow.
Yeah, it's insane. It's night and day. The game's so much different. So just like I said, I don't
You think some of that's turf
for sure
versus grass.
The uprights have been. They've always been the same amount wide, but they used to not be as high up. And they said reading through this, like visually, the farther they are up, it like kind of lets you frame it in your mind a little bit better than like shorter uprights.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of weird what they said there. But
side note, did you see, I forget what game it was from, and it's probably going to be banned after this weekend, but there was a game where they put like a screen behind the field goal posts and just had vertical yellow lines going across the screen to fuck with the kickers.
I was watching it. I was watching Sunday or Red Zone with a couple of guys, and one of my buddies showed it to me, and he said, "This is the most toxic shit I've ever seen in my life." And showed it, and it's just these lines. I was like, "What an evil person!"
Oh yeah,
yeah,
genius though, fucking genius,
super genius. So, in short, in a nutshell, fuck kickers.
Kickers have gotten better. Yes, they have, but you know what? Do better.
Fuck them.
Do better, because we're all counting on you, okay? Literally, all of our hopes and dreams in various scenarios rely on kickers.
Mm-hmm.
So do better. Pay them more. Actually, pay them more. You pay them more, they'll probably do better.
Kick 1,000 kicks a day. Pay them more money, kick 1,000 kicks, because we're counting on you.
What do you think Kobe did? Huh?
Yeah. You should be kicking till your fucking
Kobe
leg
was tops in the league, and dude's still taking thousands and thousands of jumpers every single day.
Mamba mentality. And like we said, kickers, we need you to put it more into it because we're counting on you. You want to know why we're counting on you? Because we're trying to make that money. It's the most wonderful time of the pod. It's time to get your money out. It's time to run and scream and shout. It's time to make and win them bets.
If you didn't know, this is the portion of 85 yards, which we have now lovingly called PickPocket.
I love it. Because
we're going to make some picks, but we're also going to pick some pockets.
Pick the pocket of your local bookie. Please and thank you.
Come on down to Pickin' Town.
I love it. So Rystrodamus, I will read it off.
Yes, sir.
Still a great year. 15-11-1. That's winning time. Anytime I've seen a time to win. Big time Timmy Jim making picks.
You said time so many times.
I meant to. I love it. 15-11-1. My man here, give him the picks.
Don't shy away from that 5-7 head to head. I'm making a comeback on you. So
well, I mean, I'm still the people still. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So last week I finished up 2-2 and was 2-1 in head to heads. Thank you to the God, it was a beautiful thing. Arkansas had no chance in hell to win that game, and they scored a touchdown with 30 seconds left to put them 11 points on a plus 12. So thank you to Arkansas for bringing home that dub for Rystrodamus. My picks this week, however, I like Denver +4 at Atlanta. Looking at their collective records, looking at the team dynamics and everything, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Atlanta hasn't played really well this year in most games to warrant a -4. Denver has played well occasionally. You know, they've got obviously a lot of injuries, but, you know, having Philip Lindsay back, having Melvin Gordon back, having everybody kind of in that healthy sphere, it's really good. Denver 4-2 against the spread this year, 2-1 away, while Atlanta is 3-5 against the spread and 0-4 at home. So I like Denver a lot in this game. I like Las Vegas
The Raiders.
I had Oakland on there, and then I was like, wait, they're not Oakland.
So that's not who they are.
Las Vegas plus 1.5 at the Chargers. To me, this is just a pick 'em. So I like the Raiders to win this game outright. So it's kind of a no-brainer in that regard. Both teams are pretty decent this year against the spread and home and away and everything. But in a pick 'em contest, I'm going Raiders in this one.
The Raiders.
Jacksonville plus 7 versus Houston. Both of these teams coming off a bye, which is interesting, because how do you prepare, right? So this is more on coaching than it is anything else. Having an interim coach with Houston, I'm less confident in that they're going to be able to be kind of prepared and ready as somebody like a Jacksonville. And Houston is 0-3 on the road this year. So I don't like giving them a full touchdown versus Jacksonville and the ability for Jacksonville to put up some points. So I like Jacksonville a lot here. And then my final one, which was hesitant. I was hesitant on.
But I like it, though.
Yeah. I thought Chayton was going to jump all over this on a head-to-head, but he did not.
Nope.
I was shocked. I was a little shocked.
Nope.
Maybe it's because Baltimore's burned him a couple times against me.
Chat my ass, they have.
Indy plus 2.5 at home versus Baltimore. Both teams match up really well from a offensive defensive perspective. Both defenses are playing fantastic. Baltimore's offense is a little bit more electric. Both are 3-3 against the spread, 3-0 at home, 3-0 away. So something's got to give in this game. But to me, the biggest thing was looking at that point spread and saying, why? Because people are going to look at Baltimore minus 2.5, and they're going to take Baltimore all day long to win by a field goal. They're going to do it. And Vegas knows that. So there's got to be something that Vegas knows that they hope that everybody else doesn't. I don't like the line on this one for the Ravens. I like Indy plus 2.5. I think that's going to be closer than a lot of people think.
Very, very sharp analysis of that, because you always want to look at things with a skeptical eye, because they're not making lines for us to get rich on. So it's always my thought is always looking at it. Very sharp handicap on the Colts game. Most people, you're exactly right. That's exactly why they're setting it, and they're not even setting it at 3, because people would still take 3, but they're like, I don't think Vegas tells you who they like, and Vegas likes the Colts in that spot.
I would feel much better if that line was at 3.
Oh, for sure.
I really would. Taking Indy.
For sure.
3 or 3.5, whatever they put it at. But even at 2.5, something's up. Something
stinks. I like it. Well, Nyestrodamus coming through. Record on the year of 15-9. We'll take 66% all day, every day. All right. So there's 2 games that I've had circled for weeks. I like to look
1 and 2 on head-to-heads.
1 and 2 on head-to-heads. He's right. He clipped me.
2 and 2 on picks.
We've only got 1 head-to-head this week, and it's on one of mine. I've had 2 games circled. I like to look at games upcoming, especially. I like to really kind of project and know who's playing who in big games in 3-week increments. So I've looked out, and 2 weeks ago, I noticed a couple that I said, if I get the number that I need on this is a huge home run spot. So first things first, Bears plus 5.5 against my Titans. I know. But look, the Bears match up perfectly with the Titans. It's a terrible matchup for Tennessee when you look at it. Doesn't matter that the Bears offense isn't prolific at all. Their defense, that Bears defense against the Titans, what they want to do is run the ball. And Tennessee is not good whenever it comes to facing a pass rush. You have one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Tannehill is going to be running for his life, and Derrick Henry's not going to be able to make and sustain it. I also kind of lean under if you're looking to play an over-under, but absolutely take the Bears plus 5.5. It's way too many. Terrible matchup for the Titans. Bills +3 at home against Seattle. This is a head-to-head. Ryan is taking Big Russ and the Seahawks. A lot of things working for us in this situation here. Bills at home, 1 o'clock start time. Huge advantage whenever you have West Coast teams coming to the East Coast. You have the body clock factor. People talk about jet lag all the time. Well, it happens in reverse, too. Whenever people are coming from the West Coast, they come east. 1 o'clock start time means 10 a.m. their time. Their whole body clock's off. These West Coast teams play at 4:20, which is a normal start time, so they have that working against them. Big time emotional, physical game against the 49ers that Seattle's coming off of, only to fly to the other side of the country. So you have a little bit of travel, a little bit of fatigue, and a hungry Bills team that knows they can seize the division with a win this week, like the Bills +3. Those are the two that I really, really am on this week. Saints +5.5 at the Buccaneers. Really, I'm looking at a spot here in this situation, and I'm looking at blowout win against Green Bay, going on the road then and playing the Raiders. Having a look-ahead spot and barely getting by the Giants, you're going to get the Buccaneers' best shot in this game. Same can be said for the Saints. The Saints know they have to win this game. You're going to get a desperate and motivated team. They won in week 1. I don't know if they'll win this week. 5.5 is too many points. And finally, I'm just a sucker for pain. I'm a sucker for pain. Just what? I'm taking the Lions +4 against the Vikings. It makes me sick, but I will say Colts similar, and this was just a bad handicap from me last week. The Colts are a terrible matchup for the Lions. Consequently, I think the Lions are a terrible matchup for the Vikings. You got the Vikings' last punch last week and their best punch against the Packers. I think they're going to come home, be a little sluggish. I think they're going to come out of the gates. Lions know they have to get to 4-4 to have any chance in this division. 4 points again. I love dogs. Dogs are barking.
Stop Dalvin Cook, though, bro.
That's one thing that worries me. That's why it's my 4th pick, too. Hard to get 4 sides in an NFL weekend.
I got to stop old boy Dalvin. Well, why don't we do this? I'll take Minnesota on that.
Oh, Ryan sniping some picks here. Ryan not liking and realizing when I'm weak. You know, it's like we're playing Texas Hold'em here, and I put a big bet out there, and Ryan's like, "Yeah, I'm going to call that because that's a bluff."
Yeah.
So interesting.
What is it? -4?
Yep, 4. Here's the thing, though.
I like that.
I think we're getting a little bit of value too. If you would have looked at the look-ahead line before this last weekend, it was a pick 'em. So are they really 4 points better? I mean, I get it. The Lions got blown out. Huge win for the Vikings. Is it an overreaction?
Well, they take a lot of what happened over the weekend. You saw fucking Minnesota ball out. You saw what Dalvin Cook was able to do specifically, and then you go in and say, okay, well, Detroit's run defense is pretty spotty, so Dalvin Cook should run all over them. But will he actually? That's the tough thing to guess. So I thought of a couple college games too. So I don't know where you stand on Clemson, Notre Dame, and Florida, Georgia.
Okay, you show me your hand first. I've got a pretty strong opinion on the Clemson Notre Dame game.
I like Georgia -3.5.
Interesting. I kind of liked Florida.
I liked Florida a couple weeks ago. But I do not like them anymore.
It's changed. All right, what do you think about Clemson, Notre Dame? Thoughts on that?
It's 5.5. Man, I want to go Notre Dame, honestly. And it hurts me to say that because I want Clemson to win because I want them undefeated if and when they play Ohio State. But and that defense, what Boston College was able to do against their defense, I think Notre Dame will be able to do as well. And I think you are now sending DJ, however you pronounce his last name, Uyunglele.
That's good.
On his first true road game to Notre Dame. Which, granted, no fans, whatever. it's not the same type of environment that he would have been exposed to, but like there's a lot of pressure that comes with going to a place like South Bend and playing in a game against them. And I don't know, like to me, I part of me wants to say that Clemson is still going to win, but my mind is telling me that Notre Dame take the points with Notre Dame.
My mind's telling me no, but my body. I will if you want Notre Dame. I have a Clemson will absolutely cover that spread, 100%. Clemson's going to cover 5.5, absolutely. That's all I need to say because it's what's going to happen. I will take Florida plus 3.5 if you like Georgia. I'll take Florida plus 3.5 in a head-to-head.
I'd prefer the Georgia-Florida, to be honest. Okay. I don't love Clemson, Notre Dame. I feel like I could go either way on it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because I agree with you. Like, I feel like Clemson could just come out and blow them out.
Yeah. I'm not believing in Notre Dame.
I also feel like Notre Dame, seeing what Boston College did, I can see Notre Dame doing something similar.
Interesting. Real quick, and to kind of end it up here, Michigan, Indiana. You have any thoughts?
Well, Michigan's what, 2.5?
3.5.
3.5.
See, I think Michigan slaps them. So if you want Indiana,
I'll take Indiana.
I figured you'd like that.
Indiana.
Yeah, I want Michigan.
Fuck that team up north.
I don't like them either, but I like being right more.
So we got head-to-heads. We got Buffalo plus 3 versus Seattle for you. You got Georgia. Or I have Georgia minus 3.5. And then Indy. Oh, we got Minnesota. I have Minnesota minus 4 versus Detroit. And then Indiana plus 3.5.
It's gonna be a fun weekend.
I like being on the right side of a 3 too.
Yeah, that always feels good, especially
3s
at home.
And 7s.
I would like your number with Michigan, but I like the second coming of Cam Newton, Joe Milton more.
So. Joe Milton crushing it versus Michigan State. Did you see what he said after the game too? He got like
drilled.
Fucking one of the linebackers had like 2 or 3 sacks, something like that. Good game, fantastic game. And they asked Joe Milton after the game, hey, did you think that this player was as good as he was going to be? And he just went like this. He went like, who?
Oh.
And he wasn't even on my radar. Like, I didn't even worry about him. Like, blah, blah, blah. And he, like, I mean, this is post-game.
Like, yeah.
After a loss. Like, you just lost to these people.
I would definitely not say somebody's not on your radar when you've lost.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, laugh about it. Like, you're
dumb.
Fucking up here. So I think all that Cam talk got to his fucking head.
I think it did too.
I can't wait till they come to fucking Columbus.
Scam Newton is going to be his name. So, buddy, I'm ready to get back into election 2020.
Yeah, I got to pee real bad.
All right, brother. It's 85 yards.
85 yards. We got Che Booty, Chayton Nye, and Ryan Boobs McClincy. Appreciate you guys listening. Check us out anywhere you listen to podcasts by searching 85 yards. We've got, 11 episodes, 10 episodes? I think this would be 10 because we didn't put out one. We recorded one, but we didn't put it out. So.
Bob.
Yeah, it's the opposite way.
Yeah.
Jim. But no, we appreciate you guys listening. Definitely like, subscribe, download anything you can and will do for the podcast. We really appreciate 85 yards through the heart of the South. Chayton, love you, buddy.
Love you too, buddy.
Talk soon.
See ya.
Cheers.
Cheers.